Okay, welcome everybody to this type of diary, video diary that I'm doing. My first experience doing this monk mode in a monastery among monks. So this is actually the legitimate monk mode. And I feel quite privileged to be able to do this. I'm going to be doing this from Monday through Sunday. Today doesn't really count, even though I just disconnected from everything: WhatsApp, text messages, social media, YouTube, all of it. There is nothing I'm connected to right now. And so the purpose of this is to keep a diary each day of how I'm feeling, my experience, my concentration. And the reason why I'm doing that is twofold. The first reason has to do with uh, one of the things that I have to do for my PhD. I have to write basically an academic article that will be published probably next year, but I have to obviously write it soon and hand it in. And so one of the missions or objectives of this week is pretty much do very intense, deep work in rereading some parts and from some books and drafting some ideas and thinking about what I'm going to write. I more or less know what I'm going to write, but it is still a really demanding task. I'm actually I could already foresee that it was gonna be really hard, and it will be really hard to write this piece. Um, but obviously it's part of a PhD program. But yeah, so that's one of the purposes. And the second one is to actually have an encounter with God. As many of you know, I'm a Christian, and I think that for the longest time I have defaulted in living my spirituality in terms of activity, of things I do for others or for God. And I think that it is, I would say it is very, very difficult for somebody like me who comes from this Protestant slash evangelical slash restorationist type of movement. If you don't know what that is, that's fine. But basically, the common feature among these things is that contemplation or solitude with God is not one of our main strengths. And so that is something I'm exploring in my spirituality, learning to be with God in silence, in solitude, just being with God and enjoying who He is. And so that is one of the reasons I'm also here. The monk mode I'm doing has a set of rules, and I like to share the rules. This is day one, and I like to kind of like report or have a video diary of how I'm really feeling each day and the results, and some of the breakthroughs that I might have or not. And so the first rule basically is no screen. So, and by that it means no shows, no YouTube videos, none of that. So that's the first rule. The second rule is basically no text messages, so no communication with people except during the night. At some point, probably 9 p.m. or so, I'm going to speak to my wife every day or most days for 10 minutes or so, just to make sure the baby's okay, she's okay, but that's it. The rest of the time, no messages, no text messages. I'm going to be completely disconnected from everybody, and no email, nothing. So no communication, no input from the outside world. Well, obviously besides the monks and some people who are staying in the same building, like me. But aside from that, nothing. So that's the second rule: no communication, no text, no calls, nothing. Yeah, the third one might surprise to some of you, but basically no music. The idea is no music. The idea is to actually be in silence. So my breaks, I'll be studying all day or writing all day, but whenever I need a break, which obviously I will need them because this is intense work, what I am allowed to do is basically take walks in the monastery, and apart from that, just exercise. That's another thing I'm allowed to do at some point during the day. I actually brought my 2 dumbbells in the car just to be able to exercise, and I have my running shoes, so that is allowed. Exercise is allowed, but no music. And so in silence, the exercise, and then prayer. silence prayer, or reciting some prayers that might be helpful for me, reading the scriptures, the Bible, maybe reading some spiritual book, and that's that. The idea is to be able to allow silence and not input at all throughout the week, to be able to think of God, to be with God, and basically follow what the monks used to say in the medieval times, which is ora et labora, which means pray and work. And so the point of that is to be in this monastery, to just pray and work, to have these moments with God and doing meaningful work. And so it's my first time, so I feel like I'm pretty amateur. I feel like my sensation right now is basically that it can go really well or really bad. So I don't know what to expect, but here I am. So this is day one basically. So right now at 8 p.m. we're gonna have dinner. I'm in the third floor, the last floor, which is a kind of attic type of vibe, but really small. And that's that basically. So this is day one of this experience in a monastery, in silence, in solitude, and no communication, no input from the outside world, except my wife, obviously. So yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. I see you in day two. Well, hello there. This is day number two in the monastery. Today was a lovely day. I woke up at 7 a.m. more or less, read some book, and then went downstairs to have some coffee and some bread with jam with the people staying here. And then I took a walk around the monastery. I took some prayer walk in the monastery, some silence prayer too, just being with God, not even talking much really. And then I came back to my room. I was working on some of the ideas that I need to prepare, or just some texts that I need to reread for the writing of the article. The sensation was good. I think that I can tell that I was kind of used to doing deep work, especially in the mornings. It didn't feel that much different from what I typically do at the library at university. Then apart from that, I went downstairs before eating, just to take advantage of the sun and walk around some more. And then I ate, and then I pretty much came to my room again to do some reading. I took a nap, and so that was really good. I don't usually take naps now because I'm usually outside the home. And yeah, and so then I kept reading until it was time for dinner, which here was 8 p.m. And then I came back to read one more hour, and now I'm recording this. Is right now is 9:40 p.m. Some of the thoughts I've had since my experience here, well, basically today, this is day two really, and day one if we're strictly speaking, just being here and not having to travel and register and check in. I think that the silence and the peacefulness of the area has made me appreciate a type of contentment about life, the way it is. And I think that I've been learning more about what it means to be conscious of who you are and what I do. And in the end, I realized that my attention, my conscious attention, is obviously one of the key elements of or features of what it means to be a human being. And I feel like today was not necessarily the hardest working day per se. I think it was more like ease into it type of day. Tomorrow is gonna be more intense. Tomorrow my plan is basically to do intermittent fasting in the morning. So I'll just wake up, have some time of meditation, and then when I say meditation, I don't mean breathing exercises. I typically means the Eastern Judeo-Christian meditation, which is thinking of God and being with God as well. whether that is through some psalms or some scriptures, or and so yeah, so that's my plan, and just grabbing some coffee, not eating until 1:45, which is the time, the scheduled time of meals here. So lunchtime will be at that time, so just coffee. And tomorrow I'm planning on doing a really intense deep work session, where I just start probably studying or reading from 7 a.m. all the way to 1:45. I'll probably take, every hour and a half, a small break, a small 10-minute walk or something outside, and then come back and just keep doing that until 1:45, and then eat something, and then probably nap, and then do the same thing in the late afternoon, evening, a deep work session from 4 or so all the way to 8 p.m. And so yeah, so that's pretty much my plan. Even with my wife, last night I spoke to her on the phone for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, just to make sure everything was okay, and such. We decided not to speak today at all, just to make this experience more profound, real, just create a space to just be, and I think that there is also some healthy aspect to also not speaking, where we create space for ourselves just to contemplate or appreciate or get awareness of, our lives, our relationship, everything we have. And yeah, I think the overall day 2 for me, I would say it has been being in touch with the fact that I'm grateful for what I have, but everything is extra. Like it's almost like I am whole the way I am, with God and the way things are, And so I think that is definitely something that I've been thinking, and also like thinking of connection, in terms of calmness and peace, rather than this idea of joy or happiness in terms of excitement and euphoria and activity. And I think that what I experienced there was more like this profound contentment in the calmness of I don't know, the structure of reality or the structure of being. So yeah, that's pretty much day 2. So tomorrow I'll speak to you about day 3, and share with you some of my reflection, my experience. And yeah, I do feel weird with the silence at times when working. I'm not used to it. I usually play classical music, and usually train with music. Today I didn't train because on Monday I did leg day, so I was pretty broken from that workout. So today I just didn't do that. I took different long walks. Tomorrow I'm planning on pumping iron and going for a run. So we'll see how that goes with no music. I'm not sure I will be able to lift the same weight. But anyways, I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you. So hello there. So yesterday, as I told you last night, I decided to do intermittent fasting. So this morning I woke up at more or less 7 a.m. and basically I went upstairs for coffee, got upstairs, and pretty much started reading, doing deep work. So I was able to read for an hour and a half or so. Then I had to take a break. Then I kept reading, felt quite tired from the reading, and then I decided to just do some exercise. And after the exercise, I showered, and then I continue with the organizing the information of the article I'm going to write. And so that was really good. I felt pretty okay, I would say. Apart from that, I went downstairs, had lunch, then took a nap, and then woke up again, doing more deep work from 5 to pretty much now, where I was again rearranging some information, reading some things, and I finally have kind of like the main key terms and conceptions and framework of understanding and explanation for the article. It has definitely been more challenging than I expected. I knew it was going to be challenging, but I thought I had already the ideas. But I was like, this is off. It's not clear enough. I need more information with regarding some terms. And so yeah, so part of the day was again rearranging, reading some parts and what I'm going to include in the article. And yeah, and so today I took a small breaks and walk or just in silence, and I did some prayers during the day. Um, and apart from that, I had some reflections. I actually wrote it here just to not forget. My wife, I mean, if you know me, you know that I have notes everywhere, but I try to keep track of it on Notion, which is a note taking app. Anyway, so I have two reflections today. So I had a reflection about reading. I know I have an episode on the podcast about why you should read fewer books. Uh, and I pretty much go, I'm a little bit critical of the speed reading method or the speed reading methods that you can find online. And something I realized this morning when I was reading the first hour and a half, I was so deeply concentrated, just attacking the text, trying to understand, trying to ask questions and take notes and things like that. I feel like at times in the culture of the internet and productivity, there is an overfixation on the method. What is the right method for me to achieve this? My experience with reading has been basically the following. You can read as fast as your concentration allows, meaning the more concentrated you are in the text, the more you are in flow when reading the text, the faster you go. And obviously, the more familiarized you are with the terms that the author is using, obviously the reading is going to be a little bit more fluent. Whereas if you are less familiarized and this is really new information in the framework of understanding that you have about that specific topic, then you are going to read it slower because the pace of understanding or the depth of what you're reading requires that. Because I feel like reading is a meta skill, right? But this meta skill cannot be worked on if it's not through application, meaning through the reading of something. This also made me think about the way we think through different complex problems in society. And right now on the internet, it's quite common to just see the reaction videos or many reaction channels that are fun to watch, and they usually cover many things at a surface level, right? And so TikTok is a form of reaction towards certain things where you have key terminologies, key takes about a specific topic, and usually you finish the video feeling like, oh yeah, that's right, or oh, that was good, right? But the problem with reaction is that reaction is just the first thing that comes to mind, or the first impression that something causes in you, in your way of thinking. And you might judge a situation in a certain way. But I feel like many times I wrote here the reaction will provide surface knowledge. It provides an interpretation of the world that is at best shallow and uncritical, and at worst arrogant and delusional. And so that's the problem, that at best you will get something shallow and uncritical in so many areas of the same problem, right? And so I think that is why I would encourage everybody that you will gain more insights and better understanding, for example, of climate change by reading a book on climate change than by watching probably 20 videos on TikTok or on climate change. Reaction channels could be good for you to be hooked, for you to develop an interest about something that previously you didn't consider. But if that's all you got in your, so to speak, knowledge diet, then good luck. It's not going to be good enough. Or you're going to have the impression that you know much more than you actually do. And so that is definitely an issue when you want to develop a deep life. But anyways, so that's pretty much some of my reflections of today. This is more about productivity and the way we think of knowledge and the way we think of truth and finding truth But I was thinking about that. Thinking is a quite difficult thing to engage in. It's not easy, because usually understanding the otherness or understanding the other um, implies that there is a criticism involved in that, or a assessment of their ideas that you might agree with. But at the same time, if you actually do true research, that will also shape and change the way you self-interpret your life and the way your self-understanding, basically, and your self-interpretation. So anyways, that's, I hope that has some utility, these reflections. And so now soon I'm going to go downstairs to just have a dinner at 8 p.m. And after that I'm going to have some prayer time in community downstairs. And after that, yeah, I'm just gonna probably read some of the, just I'm gonna review some text for tomorrow. And that's pretty much that for today. So overall feelings apart from that, nothing. I think that at some point I really missed my son and my wife, and so that really, it hit me like suddenly, like, oh, and I got teary about missing my son. But I tried to not concentrate on that. Even though I missed him, I don't think it's useful to dwell on that. And so I tried to just be grateful for them. And yeah, and so last night I didn't talk to my wife, so tonight I'm gonna be speaking to her on the phone at 9 p.m. So I'm quite excited for that, just to see how she's doing and how my son is doing. So yeah, so that's pretty much it on my end. And I'll talk to you tomorrow at on day 4. Okay, so take care, everybody. Well, hello again. So today actually is day 5. Yesterday I didn't record, so day 4 I didn't record. It was a long day. I wasn't able to sleep well, and between the meals and just me writing and reading, in the end it just was too late, because we were talking last night during dinner with, since I eat with people who are also coming to this monastery. So in the end we had an activity, and so that's why pretty much it was too late, basically. But anyways, so today is day 5, and I'm actually leaving today. There was a change of plan, and the reason why I'm leaving, in theory I was gonna leave Sunday. Today is Friday. It's already 5 p.m. pretty much, and the reason why I'm leaving is because well, different reasons. I think that the first one is that my baby has been having a lot of uncomfortable situations with some of his health, and he's okay, but he's been waking up pretty much every single night a lot. And so my wife is actually tired. She told me it's okay for me to stay, but I decided that I wanted to go back, and just do the nights and just be there again. And I think the second reason also, it has to do with, for some reason I feel like my time here has come to an end, even though I have 2 more days. The monks were really nice that they didn't force me to pay the other days, just the ones that I stay here. And I feel like to some degree I feel pretty at peace. And it's funny because I feel like I came for mostly, or in big part, for a productive reason, which was to really make progress with my article and things like that. And I feel like this time has been a lot more, I would say, life changing with regard to some spiritual things that I was wrestling with. And it has been an amazing experience with regard to that, because I have had a lot of silence to meditate, to be with God, to think through it. And yeah, just having different moments in the quiet, and that has been something that I've never experienced, and actually just not really you know, you already know the rules, you know, like no screens, no communication, no music. And yeah, it has been great. I think that being here many times in a room alone, in silence, has been, I would say, a time of really coming to understand, and not only understand, but I would say also experience a sense of wholeness. That at times is really hard with the noise of, you know, the good life that is out there on social media, or the way people portray it, or how people talk about things. I think that it can be quite easy to get attached to these dreams of success, or dream of performing, or, you know, having, you know, the perfect body, or being with the perfect person, or having the perfect house. And this idea that accumulation is synonym of happiness, or wholeness, or the good life. And I think that that path of is a never-ending cycle. You know, you just chase one thing, and then you develop a hunger and a craving for the next thing, and it's just the lust of the eyes, and the lust of that we all can have towards certain things in life. And it's just, it steals our peace. It robs us from having peace. It just keeps us from having peace. And I think that that is something that I have, not only know as a nice idea, but actually experienced more being here, where I've been removed from all that noise, and I've been able to redirect my attention towards, um, towards love, towards connection, towards understanding my flaws and coming to terms with it. And I think that that is definitely invaluable in the way we feel and interpret our lives, and what we find valuable. And I think that, yeah, I would say that, um, it's really hard to explain, because I think that in Western society we're pretty accustomed to this type of propositional knowledge, which means, it basically means that we think we know something because we are able to describe its parts, or understand how it operates. But there is a type of knowing, a type of comprehension of something, which is experiential, that it's hard to put into words, that you have to experience to really understand the implications of that. And it comes to mind, you know, the difference between knowing that the honey or the banana has this property, or this characteristic of being sweet, and the difference understanding, or experience, when you actually taste the sweetness of the honey and the sweetness of the banana. Those are two complete different things, even though they share what we propositionally or theoretically understand as sweetness. um, and I feel like with God is the same thing. You know, you can read about God, people can tell you about God, but until you have this time where you open space for God, and have an encounter with Him, where you're able to really be more, to, I would say, gain awareness of your spiritual being, and God. It's just something difficult to even explain. So I think that that is something that I experienced this week. I would say that at times, the reason why I have not accessed this type of spiritual discernment and peacefulness is due to the fact that I compromise too much at times with regard to what the world offers, and what, um, I know, or I'm told by Jesus and by scriptures, that what reality really is, and, you know, what my soul craves really. And so I think that at times, you know, I try to play at the same time two different games. Basically, there are certain things that you will not discover until you completely give yourself to it. It's hard to have access to certain things unless you're willing to bet everything. I guess I had the expectation at the beginning of the week that this was going to be my most productive time, had a different plan, I feel. My experience has been that it has been probably one of the best moments of spiritual clarity and growth for me, coming to terms with certain things and not just knowing it, but actually experience that. So yeah, so anyways, that is pretty much my experience in the monastery. So I hope this might encourage you to maybe, you know, do something similar where you just remove yourself in silence from some days to meditate or to learn about something or to explore something. And this is taking into account that I am an extrovert. I love being distracted with things, and things like that. So this is really radical. Probably if you're an introvert and you're used to silence, and you are, maybe this is just not big difference. But even being in a different space and being with different people when eating, it just puts you in a different frame of mind, I would say, in a different mindset, where if you really want to, with the rules I shared, that might even give you some space to be able to experience something like that more fully. So anyways, that was my experience in the monastery, and yeah, and who knows, I might repeat something similar. I mean, I'm sure I will repeat or come again at some point, and yeah, and so it would be fun to even do it with some people from the online community, prepare something like that, and just take you guys with me. But anyways, that's everything on my end. Take care, everybody. Bye.